The Israel-Hamas war has put first responders like ambulance drivers and paramedics on the front lines of that conflict. NewsHour special correspondent Martin Himmel has this look at the lives of medics in both Gaza and Israel who do all they can to help save lives.
Fadi Afana is a senior medic. He's seen 3 wars in Gaza, but this is like no other. The casualties are many times higher in this conflict, and most of the hospitals have been shut down. There are nowhere near enough facilities to treat the wounded. Working for now out of the Al-Aqsa Martyrs Hospital in Khan Yunis, southern Gaza, he's racing towards the scene of an Israeli airstrike. Trying to save the wounded and gathering the dead is a daily, even hourly job for Fadi.
My leg.
I will count. 1, 2, 3.
Oh God.
Fadi and more than 1.5 million other Gazans have been forced to leave their homes and find refuge in the south.
We lived very close to the sea. The entire neighborhood was shelled. The house no longer exists. Since the start of the war, we've been scattered. I haven't returned at all. I haven't seen my children, except on the street. I haven't seen my wife at all. I saw my mother for the first 15 days, and until now, I haven't seen her at all. My sisters as well, because each of us are in a different place.
In Israel, American-Israeli medic Moshe Pashkes and his colleague Yehuda are heading to Kfar Aza, a kibbutz on the border with Gaza, to come to terms with what they experienced here during the Hamas attacks. Moshe and Yehuda are volunteer medics in the United Hatzalah EMS. On October 7th, Moshe risked his life as part of a medical team trying to save the lives of others as Hamas slaughtered men, women, and children here. Yehuda came to the embattled Israeli border towns shortly after.
People's personal lives just sprawled everywhere, upended, a wheel of a bicycle, somebody's broomstick, you know? Like they say, the worst massacre the Jewish people have experienced since the Holocaust. This is another house of what was apparently a musician. You know, we went inside, we saw a drum set and guitars, keyboards, sound system, possessions waiting for their owners to come back and use them. We set up a sort of field hospital, a triage center, if you will. This one is not so urgent, he can go in a car. This guy is more urgent, he needs an ambulance. This one is so urgent, he needs a helicopter.
The flood of dead and wounded was overwhelming for the first responders.
Dozens of patients, literally, without exaggeration, dozens of patients came through. Ambulance number 71 is on its way to you with 4 severely injured patients. 1 shot in the head, 2 shot in their limbs, and 1 shot in the abdomen.
Back in Gaza, Fadi drives for a rare rendezvous with his children.
حالك صوت تعال وين سارة؟ ايه؟ فوق خد عايز تقول لك لاخواتك طيب؟ غلبيش ماما طيب؟ يلا شاطر يلا باي يابا.
Apart from the dangers of being killed in combat or by airstrikes, there's also the risk now of being arrested by Israeli forces. Hamas is alleged to have used ambulances to move its men and material around. Now all medics are suspect. Fadi and his brother Mohammed were picking up wounded when the Israeli military stopped them and arrested Mohammed, who is also a medic.
So what more can I tell you? They stripped my brother in front of me, abused him, covered his eyes, and took him to the tank. For 13 days, I have no information about him.
Fadi Afana and Moshe Pashkes are on opposite sides of this conflict, but they share a common motivation to save lives in the war. They also share a common trauma from what they've been witnessing in the fighting. Moshe lives in Jerusalem. He often serves as an ambu-bike medic. Moshe usually gets to the scene up to 10 minutes before an ambulance and gives a life-saving first response.
We at United Hatzalah, we try our best to be at serious calls within 90 seconds of being dispatched, as much as possible. There was a soldier who was attacked by a terrorist. You're talking about somebody who's losing blood. So every second counts. The sooner you get there, the sooner you can put on a tourniquet, the sooner you can save someone's life.
This is the nerve center of United Hatzalah EMS.
It's always fun when you're running 3 different calls at the same time.
Moshe often volunteers as a dispatcher. He recalled the horrors of October 7th.
On that screen over there, we have a thing that alerts us to every single red alert in the entire country, the rocket sirens. A volunteer responded to a rocket attack that basically went right down the core of the building. It landed on the roof and went right down the stairwell, and it killed 3 people and wounded easily more than 10 other people. When I say wounded, I mean like, dismembered limbs and stuff. My first clue that things were going to be really bad was when I overheard them discussing how many victims they could fit into one ambulance. And one of the senior guys was saying, I think 8. And I said, you're going to put 8 wounded people into an ambulance? And he said, not 8 wounded people, 8 dead bodies. Just people getting mowed down one after another in cold blood just for the sole crime of being Jewish.
In Gaza, 3 ambulances emerge in the darkness from the north. Fadi checks the staff and the patients. He discovers all the drivers are civilians. The Israelis told them to drive the ambulances because they arrested the medic drivers.
They arrested everyone. Our 4 colleagues, Mohammed Al-Kurd, Ala Muammar, Mohammed Nahal, and Sharif Bayou. We brought all their cars to use them. We will bring our cars and move with the European hospital cars.
There's no time to get frustrated over the arrests. These wounded need to be transported. Fadi is taking them to the Europa hospital. It is of course totally inundated with the sick, the wounded, and the dying. Arriving at the hospital, the parking lot has been transformed into an emergency ward. So for now, they are turning the adjacent UN school into a makeshift hospital. But there are no beds, and there are dwindling supplies of medicine and equipment.
What's your name? What's your name? Your full name?
I hope the war stops and the bloodshed we're experiencing comes to an end. I also hope the displaced people can return to their homes because, honestly, we're living in camps and in other places. The situation of the displaced is tragic, and we don't know where they will go once the war is over.
There is great uncertainty how and when this war will end. In the meantime, both Fadi and Moshe brace themselves for more casualties as the fighting rages on. For the PBS NewsHour, this is Martin Himmel on the Israel-Gaza border.